Rachel McTavish, and this is the Arnold Clark Car Show. Hello and welcome to the Arnold Clark Car Show. I'm Rachel McTavish. Whether you're looking to buy your first car, trying to find an SUV that will fit in your whole family, or you're a fully fledged petrol head, welcome to your new home for all your motoring needs. Coming up on tonight's show, we run the rule over three of the best but affordable hatchbacks on the market for young drivers, from the enduringly popular Ford Fiesta and Vauxhall Corsa to the compact street style of the Fiat 500. We'll also get some top tips for young drivers from our motoring experts, take a look at some of the newest in-car gadgets on the market, and bring you some top troubleshooting advice for drivers of all ages. Ever since it was launched 4 decades ago, the humble Ford Fiesta has risen through the ranks to become king of the hatchback class. In fact, it's now the most popular car in the UK. But what has this 7th generation incarnation got to offer to keep it ahead of the chasing pack? So Graeme, you've brought in this incredibly sporty looking Fiesta. Which model is this?
This is the ST line, it's based on the ST, it's a kind of clone of it.
So what do people think then when you take them into the showroom and they see this?
It just gives them that real wow factor. They want to jump in it and they want to really show off, take pictures of it to show it to their friends as well.
It does look very, very sporty. We have to point out this is only a 1 litre though. But what about the parents? How do you reassure them?
At first, they're not always on board because it does have a sporty look for such a young driver's car, but as soon as you break the car down and go through some of the safety features, they really come on board then with us.
Well, we'll look at those in more detail in a moment, but just give us an idea of what it has.
Well, 2 of the main safety features on the car is the lane assist. So if the car starts to wander over any white lines without the driver being in control, the steering wheel vibrates, thinks they're falling asleep or they're snaking. Other thing is emergency assistance. So what happens then if a car is in an accident, it will phone the emergency services for them and give their GPS location to the emergency service as well in case the driver's unconscious.
So inside the vehicle you've got all the controls on the steering wheel that you'd expect, but let's take a look at this central console because this is really impressive.
So this is Ford's Sync 3 system. It's actually a fantastic system. So what you've got on it, you do have your satellite navigation, which is built on the left hand side here. Top right is where your DAB and FM radio is, and the bottom right says add devices for your Bluetooth technology for connecting your phone.
Right, and then I can see that on the dashboard as well there's a little road sign with a speed limit in the centre. What's that?
So the car also has traffic sign recognition. That's what will pick up the traffic speed, the area you're in. So if you're in an unknown area, you don't know the speed, you look down at your central console, it'll tell you the speed of the area you're in as well. And
then this button here, the heated front windscreen, that's impressive, isn't it?
That's so good, especially winter time. If you get snow and ice on, you press that button, under 2 minutes, your front window's cleared for you.
All snow and ice gone?
All snow and ice gone.
That's good. Well, this all looks and sounds great, but as you know, there's only one way to put it to the test. We need to take it out for a proper drive.
We definitely do. Let's go.
Now the Fiesta does come in a touch more expensive than other cars in its class. What are you getting for that money?
Oh, and the Fiesta is a bit more expensive, but you're getting that fun factor back into driving. It's a lot smoother ride, it's a quieter cockpit than other cars in its market, and it's got a bit more oomph as well in the car. It's more performance in the engine as well.
It does feel quite expensive in the car, I must admit.
Yeah. It's got a little bit more quality in the car. The trim's a bit more detail. You see the colour matches it outside of as well. It's put a lot of thought into the quality inside that matches it outside.
Let's test out that acceleration because this is where this has got a little bit more poke to it, hasn't it?
So that this 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo injection engine.
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel it. Right, well let's try out that lane assist then that you told us about. That's on the stalk there.
It's on the stalk on the left hand side. Wee button, you press it, the lane assist activates. You can see there's a wee green symbol just below the 99 miles per gallon symbol. It goes green, it picks up the 2 lanes, and if you start to snake over...
Right, let me veer over a little bit, check it's clear. Yeah, oh, yeah, you can just feel, it's very subtle, isn't it? Just the slight vibration on the steering wheel.
Definitely, it's just a slight wake-up call, just to let you know that you're starting to snake over the white lines. So it's really good. It's not going to give you a complete fright.
I know, I thought it was going to go...
It's not going to start shaking.
No.
Now, as we all know, embarking on your driving journey as a newly qualified driver can be a costly business, especially when it comes to insurance. So how do you keep those premiums to a minimum? Well, luckily, we've got Jan James from Good Egg Drivers with a few top tips.
Hi, I'm Jan James from Good Egg Drivers. We've had the privilege of working with thousands of learner drivers across the UK, and one of the number one questions that we're always asked is, how can we reduce our insurance costs? So I'm here today to give you some top tips on how to do just that. Okay, so number one, choose your car wisely. If you're planning to buy your own car and you're not using your parents' or a carer's car, then that can make a massive difference in terms of your insurance costs. What you're looking for is a lower engine car, so a 1.2 would be ideal rather than a Brooklyn Beckham 3-litre turbo. Secondly, shop around for your insurance. There are many good insurers out there. There are comparison websites that you can go on and check, but not everyone is on a comparison website. So check around and make sure you get the best deal for you. It's your hard-earned cash, so you want to get the best deal. Thirdly, if you are planning to buy a car, check its Euro NCAP rating. The higher the rating, generally the safer it is, and insurers do like that. And fourthly, have a look at some advanced training programs, any additional training insurers like to see, and there's some good ones out there. Next, don't assume that third-party insurance is cheaper. It may be cheaper to begin with, but it certainly won't be cheaper if you have a collision, because remember, the damage to your car will not be covered, so it could be pretty high. Also, don't assume, as many of our students do, that it's cheaper to go on your parents' insurance. In actual fact, it's better to get your own insurance, and I'll tell you why. If you get your own insurance, you can build up what's called a no claims bonus. Every year that you're accident free means that you get more money off your insurance. And in fact, in 3 years, you could get as much as 70% off your insurance. So it's definitely worth having. And finally, don't ever be tempted to put your parents or your carers down as a main driver if in actual fact you're the primary driver. It's classed as fraud, and if you were caught, you could be looking at up to a £5,000 fine and basically barred from insurance in the future. So don't be tempted.
Well, earlier in the show we looked at the very popular Ford Fiesta, and now we're going to turn our attention to another unmistakable hatchback icon, the unbelievably street Italian chic Fiat 500. So Scott, what is it that makes the Fiat 500 so popular?
I think you've got a lot of features for not a lot of money. For about £35 you can fill the tank with petrol, and it will last you a little bit over a week.
That's brilliant. Now, when it was first launched as the Cinquecento back in the 1950s, safety wasn't a big feature, was it?
No, it was not.
So things have had to have changed.
Definitely has. You've got your 5-star rating now, so you've got your reverse parking sensors, and you've got all your airbags and things, and it's obviously a bit more robustly built.
It's fair to say that they tend to be thought of as perhaps a more girly car, and it was quite strange seeing you coming in this one. I wouldn't have put you in this car.
Yeah, I do actually own a 500.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. I've got a lovely Electronica blue 500, and I love it. I really do. It's really comfy. It's good on kind of long drives, as well as just dotting around the city.
There's also quite a few really impressive design features as well, some nice quirks.
Oh yeah. You've got your lovely interior, your ivory ambience and your black ambience as well, and then you've got your gorgeous cloth upholstery and things as well. your checkered, ivory and black. There's lovely wee touches from the most basic models right up to the...
And the front grille as well is a nice touch.
Yeah, the grille is lovely. Your kind of honeycomb with the chrome caps, it is gorgeous. One of my favourite parts of the exterior is.
So inside it's very basic but got everything you need, hasn't it? It's got cruise control on the stalk here, and the radio looks quite good.
Yeah, so you can use your kind of voice recognition. You've got your wee button on the steering wheel, and you can say, you know, call home, call pizza, whatever you fancy. And you've got your DAB radio as well, AM, FM or digital.
First thing that strikes you when you're in the Fiat 500 is that it doesn't feel cramped at all. It's surprisingly spacious.
Yeah, well, I mentioned before, I'm actually in a band and I can fit all of my band gear in the boot. Just a guitar and an amp and we're good to go.
So you mentioned the city button because the natural place for the Fiat 500 is nipping round towns and cities.
Yeah.
So let's try the city button. We're just going to turn a corner. Go on.
Here we go.
Oh yes, light as a feather. Oh, that's great, very nippy.
Yeah, definitely feel a difference.
For lots of us these days, cars are a lifestyle choice and few come close to the Fiat 500. And with a list price of £10,000 to £12,000, it's not just attractive, it's affordable too. And remember, if you want any more info on any of the cars we've featured on tonight's show, or any of the other 250,000 cars Arnold Clark sells every year, then simply click on the link below and let Arnold Clark help choose the right car for you. Still to come, there's over 1.25 million of them on Britain's roads. So just what makes the Vauxhall Corsa so popular, and why could it be the right car for you? Plus, we'll be finding out how investing in a dash cam for your car now could actually save you a whole load of cash in the future.
One of the most important decisions that you're ever going to make learning to drive is who you get to teach you. 95% of the students that we've worked with could not tell us the qualifications of the instructor that they were actually using. They assumed that all instructors were the same. Well, I'm here to tell you they're not. There are two types of instructors. There's an ADI, which stands for Approved Driving Instructor. It means that they have passed all their tests and proven their ability to teach you. And then there is a PDI, which stands for Potential Driving Instructor, denoted by a pink triangle, which means that they haven't passed all their tests. Now the choice is yours, but the AA reckon there been a 29,000 increase in failure rates, which those attributed to PDIs. They're not necessarily less expensive, but you really want to choose an instructor who's going to help you to drive that car and pass your test first time. And just so you know, 9 out of 10 first time passes are with an ADI. Hope you find that useful.
So far this programme, we've been looking at some of the most popular cars for new drivers. We've looked at the Ford Fiesta and the Fiat 500. And now last, but by no means least, it's another of Britain's most popular small cars. Hazel, we see so many of these Vauxhall Corsas on the road. What is it that makes it so popular with the young new drivers?
I'd probably say the fact they're just so compact. You can get your 3 and your 5 door. So you've got your full Bluetooth controls, your full DAB radio. We also have a thing in the Vauxhall Corsa called INTELLILINK. Basically displays all your apps onto the screen. You've got full automatic lights, window wipers, your heated front windscreen.
And the alloy wheels as well, which look really good. I think it's fair to say in the past, the Vauxhall Corsas have had a bit of a boy racer image, haven't they?
No, definitely. Recently we've got little stats that it's more of a 50-50 split, so it is predominantly females are more involved in them, which makes it more attractive to young females and young male drivers because they still have that.
So let's take a look inside the car then.
Absolutely.
Right, so we've got your phone plugged in. Let's look at the Apple Play that you're talking about then.
So on Apple CarPlay, on your INTELLILINK screen here, it basically means that you can project your apps from your phone directly onto the screen. So this is most commonly used for your sat nav. You can get your messages, your music all through. So for example, on here, as you can see, you've got your maps, your phone, your messages, everything all displayed.
So if I touch the map there,
yeah.
And then,
as you can see, swipe through. So it projects all your apps from your phone onto here. You can follow your full sat nav from the screen.
I'm very impressed. Right, so let's look at the steering wheel then, where a lot of the safety features are. So just take us through some of those.
So for example, with your calls and your Bluetooth pairing into the screen, you can answer and hang up on the steering wheel here. You've got your volume controls. On the left, you do have your full cruise control. And as you can see, you've got your speed limiter on here. Ideal for setting your limit to a certain speed and then don't over exceed. In the centre, as you can see, you've got everything digital, so you can skip through on here and see all your...
Right, so we can see, as well as our fuel economy, we can see our tyre pressure. So you can actually see if you're losing air in individual tyres rather than just a warning light come on.
Yes.
So what happens if you think you've got a puncture in one of those?
If anything goes below what it should be, it will go red straight away for you. Every time you get in and out the car, it will warn you straight away.
You can't ignore it.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That's brilliant.
So as you can see, it's worth mentioning in the boot here, for a smaller car, as you can see, boot spaces.
That's impressive. So a couple of suitcases and certainly a big supermarket shop would fit in that. Well, Hazel, we're out on the open road and the first thing that strikes me is just how quiet the engine is.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing with Vauxhall nowadays with our new engines is what customers, it's the first thing they notice when they get in particular the Corsa, it's such an attraction to it.
It feels surprisingly spacious for a car of this size as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we're in the 3-door at the moment, and you've got the 2 side doors, which are considerably a lot bigger than the 5-door. So getting in and out the front is a lot easier, and see, even in the back, you've still got 3 seats. So you still get room for 3 passengers.
And you've got the ISOFIX as well for baby seats.
Young children.
So let's talk about running costs and reliability. Always a high priority for people when they're talking about their first car.
Yeah.
And this is where the Corsa is really appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such an attraction with the 1.4 engine, and it is only a 75 brake horsepower. So in terms of your insurance for a young driver, it's in the lowest bracket, so it will bring it down. And in your running costs, you're only at 57.6 miles to the gallon, so you're getting a lot of petrol out of your engine.
So Hazel, summing up, in a nutshell, why should somebody choose a Corsa?
Because it's fuel efficient, it's great looking, especially for your young drivers, and as we just drove, it was great to drive.
Nowadays, our lives seem to be run by the latest technology and gadgets, and your car is no exception. So here on the Arnold Clark Car Show, our experts are on hand to give you the latest information to keep you ahead of the game. This month, we're focusing on dash cams. What are they, and why do they matter?
So the way we're buying cars is completely changing. An essential need used to be your fuel, your mats. Now we are wanting that all-important dash cam. Why is that? Let me tell you. A lot of insurance companies currently, especially for young drivers, if you state that you are utilising one, your annual premium will be slightly discounted. Another need, the time and the effectiveness of having that evidential proof if you ever need to make a claim. If you are using the dashcam, imagine protecting those all-important no-claim bonuses as a new driver. Parents, for you, knowing your child has that extra security while being in the car, you can also see how they are utilising your car if you're loaning it to them. So let me take you through a couple of things that you do get with your dashcam. So the system that we have here, the Blackview HD, you have a rear camera that you'll fit behind the rear tail brake light. You then have the front camera, which has a couple of things with this particular one. Again, going back to your insurance and if you ever need to make a claim, you have the GPS system there. This basically will help you pinpoint exactly where the incident has happened and the exact time. So when reporting it to your insurance or the police, you have that evidence there in concrete. To get that information, it's just pull the cover back there, pull it off the side, and all inside you have that all-important SD card. The particular one I have here has a 28 hours worth of filming on it. Where you would then need to place your dash cam is the most important thing. You don't want to miss anything and you don't want to avoid any parts. So making sure you screw it to the correct part, your sticker pad would then go onto the windscreen. So making sure you're facing your camera forward, you would find the exact angle and place it in needed. Make sure you are not obscuring your view at any time when placing your camera. You do not want you as the driver to be distracted at any time.
Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to join us next time here on the Arnold Clark Car Show, when we'll be revving things up a level.
Next time on the Arnold Clark Car Show, when it comes to balancing performance with practicality and affordability, then the hot hatch is where it's at. But the market has never offered so much choice, so where should you be looking for that extra sporty performance? We'll be taking a look at the top hot hatchbacks that Arnold Clark has to offer and where best to get that enhanced driver experience without breaking the bank.